Here's something most investors are missing right now. While everyone's panicking about Nevada's falling home prices, there's a quiet group of buyers making serious money. Not from appreciation, not from flipping, from rental income. See, when home prices drop but rents stay stable or even rise, something magical happens. Your cash-on-cash return skyrockets, your cap rate jumps. And suddenly, towns that looked too cheap start printing monthly checks that make sense. I've spent the last 3 weeks analyzing Nevada's rental markets, and what I found surprised me. While the headlines scream about collapsing prices, there are 10 towns where the math has never looked better for landlords. We're talking 8%, 10%, even 12% rental yields in some cases. Markets where a $200,000 investment can generate $1,800 to $2,200 in monthly rent. Where vacancy rates are low, tenant demand is strong, and the numbers actually work. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right market, this might be it. Not because prices are rising, but because the rent-price ratio has finally tilted in your favor. Comment below if you're hunting for cash flow over appreciation. Because today, we're breaking down 10 Nevada towns where rental yields are crushing what most investors thought was possible. And subscribe now because this is the kind of data most people won't share until it's too late. Let's dive in. 10. Hawthorne, the military town printing steady rent. Hawthorne doesn't look like much on paper. Population 3,000, remote, quiet, the kind of place most investors scroll past on Zillow, but here's what they're missing. The numbers: median home price, $150,000 down from $205,000, average rent, $1,400 month rental yield, 11.2% vacancy rate, under 4%. Let's do the math. You buy a 3-bedroom home for $150,000, put 20% down, that's $30,000. Your mortgage payment at 7% is roughly $800 a month. Add $150 for taxes and insurance, you're all in at $950. You rent it for $1,400, that's $450 month positive cash flow, or $5,400 a year. On a $30,000 investment, that's an 18% cash-on-cash return. Why it works: Hawthorne's economy revolves around the Hawthorne Army Depot, the largest ammunition storage facility in the free world. That means steady government jobs, predictable paychecks, and a constant flow of civilian contractors and military personnel who need housing. Rents haven't dropped because demand hasn't dropped. Workers need places to live. And with home prices falling, fewer people can afford to buy, so they rent instead. The tenant profile: you're renting to depot workers, government employees, and occasional remote workers looking for ultra-low cost of living. These aren't high-maintenance tenants. They want clean, functional homes, they stay long-term, and they pay on time because their income is stable. The trade-offs. Yes, Hawthorne is remote. Yes, there's limited dining and entertainment. And yes, if the depot ever closes, the market crashes. But as long as the government keeps that facility running, this town prints rent checks. For investors who want cash flow over glamour, Hawthorne is a hidden gem. Comment if you take 18% returns in the middle of nowhere, because most investors won't. 9. Tonopah, the stargazing town that pays. Tonopah is weird. Population 2,300, famous for ghosts, stargazing, and mining history. It's the kind of place tourists visit once and investors ignore completely. But the rental math here is quietly outstanding. The numbers: median home price, $160,000 down from $195,000, average rent, $1,350 month rental yield, 10.1% vacancy rate, 5-6%. Same exercise. Buy at $160,000, down payment $32,000, mortgage around $850, add $200 for taxes and insurance, all-in monthly cost $1,050, rent for $1,350, that's $300 month cash flow, or $3,600 a year. On your $32,000 down, that's 11.2% cash on cash. Why it works: Tonopah sits at the crossroads of Nevada's mining resurgence. Lithium, silver, and rare earth mining operations are expanding in the region. That brings workers, geologists, engineers, contractors, who need housing for 6-12-month stints. Add in tourism. The Mizpah Hotel draws ghost hunters. The stargazing programs bring astronomers and science buffs. And remote workers are discovering Tonopah as one of the cheapest places in America to live while working online. The tenant profile: you're renting to short-term mining contractors, 3-12 months, tourism workers, and the occasional digital nomad. Turnover is higher than Hawthorne, but demand stays strong. And with so few rental options in town, you're not competing with corporate landlords. The trade-offs: Tonopah is isolated. If your tenant bails mid-lease, finding a replacement takes longer. Maintenance is DIY or expensive because contractors charge travel fees. And the market is small. If mining slows, so does demand. But for now, the yield is real, and the cash flow is hard to ignore. Comment if you'd bet on mining booms and ghost town charm, because Tonopah rewards the bold. 8. Ely, the Ruby Mountain Cash Machine. Ely has always been one of Nevada's more stable small towns. Mining heritage, mountain scenery, a community that actually sticks around. And now, with prices falling, the rental opportunity is screaming. The numbers: median home price, $180,000 down from $250,000. Average rent, $1,600 month. Rental yield, 10.7%. Vacancy rate, 4.5%. Buy at $180,000. Down payment, $36,000. Mortgage, roughly $950. Taxes and insurance, $220. Total monthly, $1,170. Rent for $1,600. Cash flow, $430 month. Annual, $5,160. On $36,000, that's 14.3% cash on cash. Why it works: Ely's economy is diversified for a town its size. Mining jobs at nearby operations, government positions, tourism tied to Great Basin National Park and the Ruby Mountains, and a growing remote work population drawn by affordability and outdoor access. Rents have stayed strong because housing supply is limited, new construction is rare, and families who can't qualify for mortgages anymore are renting instead of buying. The tenant profile: you're renting to young mining families, Park Service employees, and teachers or healthcare workers who want stability. These are long-term tenants, they maintain properties, and they're less likely to skip out because Ely is a small town, everyone knows everyone. The trade-offs: Ely is remote, winters are brutal. And if mining takes a hit, the local economy feels it. But compared to boom-bust towns, Ely's diversity keeps it steady. For investors who want reliable cash flow in a scenic, stable town, Ely delivers. Comment if mountain views and double-digit returns sound like your kind of play. 7. FALLON. The Navy town printing paychecks. Fallon is known as the oasis of Nevada. Agriculture, Navy base, small town feel with actual infrastructure. And right now, it's one of the best rental markets in the state. The numbers: median home price, $220,000 down from $275,000. Average rent, $1,900 month. Rental yield, 10.4%. Vacancy rate, 3.4%. Buy at $220,000. Down payment, $44,000. Mortgage, around $1,170. Taxes and insurance, $250. Total, $1,420 month. Rent for $1,900. Cash flow, $480 month. Annual, $5,760 on $44,000 down, that's 13.1% cash on cash. Why it works: Naval Air Station Fallon is the Navy's premier air combat training facility. That means a constant rotation of pilots, support staff, and contractors, all of whom need housing. And because military families can't always buy due to short assignments, they rent. Add in agriculture jobs in proximity to Reno, 1 hour, and Fallon has a diverse tenant base that keeps vacancy low. The tenant profile: military families are ideal tenants, they have steady income, they're respectful of properties. And they often sign 1-2-year leases. You're also renting to ag workers, healthcare staff from the local hospital, and remote workers who want affordability near Reno. The trade-offs: Fallon is still small-town Nevada. Dining and nightlife are limited, and if the Navy base ever scales back, the market would feel it. But for now, that base is expanding, and so is rental demand. For investors who want military-backed cash flow, Fallon is a no-brainer. Comment if Navy money and stable tenants sound like your strategy. 6. WNNEMUCCA. The I-80 gold mine Winnemucca sits on I-80 halfway between Reno and Salt Lake City. It's a pit stop for travelers, a hub for mining, and quietly one of Nevada's strongest rental markets. The numbers: median home price, $235,000 down from $265,000. Average rent, $2,000 month. Rental yield, 10.2%. Vacancy rate, 3.4%. Buy at $235,000. Down payment, $47,000. Mortgage, around $1,250. Taxes and insurance, $270. Total, $1,520 month. Rent for $2,000. Cash flow, $480 month. Annual, $5,760 on $47,000 down, that's 12.3% cash on cash. Why it works: Winnemucca benefits from 3 income streams: mining, agriculture, and logistics. Gold and lithium mining operations in the region bring high-wage workers. Ranching and farming provide stable local jobs. And I-80 logistics, trucking, warehousing keeps demand steady. Home prices fell because fewer out-of-state buyers are coming, but local renters never left. And with mortgage rates high, more people are renting by necessity. The tenant profile: mining contractors, often 6-12-month leases, logistics workers, hospital staff, and families who work in agriculture or services. These tenants value stability, cleanliness, and proximity to schools and work. The trade-offs: Winnemucca is isolated. It's 2 hours from Reno, 4 from Boise. Entertainment is rodeos and high school sports. But for cash flow investors, isolation means less competition and better yields. Comment if you take I-80 logistics money over city glamour. 5. FERNLEY. The Reno commuter play firmly exploded during the Tesla Gigafactory boom. It became Reno's overflow suburb, and while home,